Okay, this is homework 3. Let's do problem number 59, this one. Okay, so what are we supposed to do? It says, write the first term in terms of the second term if you know that the parameter is in quadrant 2. Okay, so let me draw this. This is cos, this is sine, quadrant 2 is over here. Sine and cosine. Okay, so what does that mean? First of all, we know that secant of we know that tangent squared t plus 1 is equal to secant squared t. In other words, secant of t is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 plus or tangent squared plus 1. Okay, the question is, which one of these two signs? Now, let me remind you that secant is 1 over cosine. Okay? 1 over cosine. And if you are in quadrant 2, this is quadrant 2, cosine is negative. So, secant is negative. Therefore, the sign that you want is not the negative, the positive sign. The correct answer is secant of t is equal to minus the square root of tangent squared t plus 1. Notice that we have done what we were supposed to. Write secant in terms of tangent, respecting the algebraic sign, because we know that we are in quadrant 2. Okay, so another one. These problems require thinking, and you just can't memorize these things. These are not going to come out in calculus. You really have to think. It's not hard, but you have to use your brain. So let me draw that. There is my circle. All right, let's concentrate on this one. Okay. Now, just like the identity that I wrote for you, remember I wrote down secant squared t is equal to tangent squared t. Remember that? Plus 1. This is something that we did in class, and it's a very important identity. I just did it again for you. So just like that, we have cosecant squared t is equal to cotangent squared t plus 1. So cosecant of t is equal to plus or minus square root of cotangent squared t plus 1. The question is, which sign? Now, we are told that the point of interest is in quadrant 3. Quadrant 3 is down here. So what do we know about cosecant? Cosecant is 1 over sine, right? Cosecant is 1 over sine. And if you're told that we are in quadrant 3, sine is negative, so cosecant is negative. So once again, do not take the plus sign. So the answer is cosecant of t is equal to minus square root of cotangent squared t plus 1. Okay, we did 60. Let's go and do 17. Oh no, 61, 17. Okay, so we're in quadrant 3, right there. We're in quadrant 3, there. And we have to write tangent in terms of secant. Remember, this important identity so out of this, we have tangent squared t equal to secant squared t minus 1. Because look, it says write tangent in terms of secant. So I have to solve for tangent square here and then take the square root. Tangent of t is equal to plus or minus the square root of secant squared t plus minus 1. Okay, now the question is, which one of these two signs? Remember, you're in quadrant 3. If you're in quadrant 3, tangent is positive because sine and cosine are both negative. When you find the ratio, it's positive. So do not take the negative sign. The correct answer is, let me erase this minus there. There is a minus sign there, but it's no good for us because we are told that you are in quadrant 3. Okay? Very good. Let's move on to the next problem. Okay, so we're doing this one. We are in quadrant 4. There is quadrant 4. And it says write sine in terms of secant. Okay, so what do we know? Sine of t is equal to square. Well, let me do it like this. Let me do it a different way. Sine of t is plus or minus square root of 1 minus cosine squared t. Okay, but we want to write things in terms of cosecant. Now remember, cosine of t is 1 over secant of t. I don't know why I said cosecant. We have to write in terms of secant, right? So sine of t is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 1 over secant squared t. So we wrote the expression sine in terms of secant. The question is, what is the algebraic sign? Should it be plus or should it be minus? Okay, so let me see. Where are we? We are in quadrant 4. In quadrant 4, sine is negative. So don't take this positive value. So the correct answer is sine of t equal to minus square root of 1 minus 1 over secant squared t, because we're in quadrant 4. All right? Let's go finish it here. Okay, so what does it say? Find the values of the trigonometric function of t from the given information. Tangent of t is 1 over 4, and the parameter t is in quadrant 3. So there is quadrant 3. Okay, so let's see now. We know that secant of t is equal to plus or minus square root of tangent squared t plus 1. Okay? Good. However, the meaning of secant is 1 over cosine of t, right? Plus or minus square root of tangent squared t plus 1. Now, if you're in quadrant 3, cosine is negative, so do not take the positive sign. So 1 over cosine of t is negative square root of tangent squared t plus 1. Okay? So we plug it in. Minus square root 1 over 4 squared plus 1. So this is minus root of, this is going to give you underneath the radical 17 over 4, 17 over 2. So this, there is this thing is your secant, of course, secant of t. So we found the secant. If you found the secant, you have your cosine, right? Cosine of t is 1 over secant of t, and therefore minus 2 over root of 17. Let's find the sine, S-I-N. Okay, so what am I going to do here? Okay, so let me insert a page here. Insert a new page, blank page. Where are we? Did I do it? Actually, let me delete this. Cut it. Yeah, I'll cut it. Okay, good. Let me cut this too. All right, so now let's find the sign. S-I-N. What is this? Let me use a different color. Now, sine of t is equal to plus or minus square root of 1 minus cosine squared t. But notice that we are in quadrant 3. If you are in quadrant 3, your SIN sign is negative. So this, do not take the positive one, negative root of 1 minus cosine squared t. And plug it in. Minus square root of 1 minus square of this fellow. Minus 2 over root of 17 squared. And this is going to be negative. If you do the algebra, you get 17 minus 4. You get square root of 13 over root of 17. That's what you're going to get. And of course, cosecant of t, which is 1 over sine of t, is going to be the reciprocal of that, minus root of 17 over root of 13. The only thing that I have to do is tangent and cotangent here. Oh God! So let me see now. Let me erase the stuff that. Let me do it over here. Really sorry, but I don't have room, and this tablet is not very convenient for writing things like this. So a tangent of t. Oh, that was given. Tangent. I think tangent of t was actually given, right? We want the cotangent. Okay, that's good, because cotangent of t is just 1 over tangent of t, and this is just 4, because you were told that the tangent is 1/4, so cotangent is 4. Oh boy. Yeah, here in this problem, it didn't tell you what quadrant you are, but it gave you 2 pieces of information. So let's go ahead and, based on the 2 pieces of information, see what we can do. See, in the other problem, we're explicitly told which quadrant we're located at, and that helped us to pick the correct signs. Here, it didn't actually give us the quadrant, but it's telling us something with that second statement regarding cosine. Let's erase these. Okay, just be patient, be patient. I gotta find a better way of doing this. I need to get another tablet. Okay, good. So let's go ahead and do the problem. What do we know? All right, so it says cosine of t is positive. If cosine of t is positive, you're either in the first quadrant or you're in the fourth quadrant. This is the cosine. This is the sine. So you're either in 1 or 3. Okay. However, it says tangent is minus negative 3 over 4. Now let me remind you that if you're in the first and third quadrant, if you're in first or fourth quadrant, tangent is positive. So we are neither one of these two. So the place that we are actually is right there. We are in quadrant 4. So this information came, it was not given to us explicitly, but we got it based on the second statement right here. based on this. Based on this, we know that you are in the fourth quadrant. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the rest of the problem. All right, tangent is, and we just have to follow exactly the same steps as before. In other words, first of all, if tangent is minus 3 over 4, this is easy. That means cotangent is minus 4 over 3. It's the reciprocal of that. Now, the other one was we did with secant of t equal to secant of t equal to plus or minus square root of tangent squared t plus 1. Do you remember this identity? Okay, good. Now, because you're in the fourth quadrant, cosine is positive, secant is positive. So do not use the negative sign. Do not use this. So we have secant of t is equal to plus, or I'll just write it, I'll write it plus 1 over tangent squared t plus 1. And if you plug in the information that's given to you, so we have minus 3 over 4 squared plus 1. Believe me, if you do the algebra here, you get 5 over 2. Okay? No. Yeah, that's right. 9 plus 16 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5 divided by 2. Okay, and cosine of t is 1 over secant of t, which is 2 over 5. Okay? Let's go ahead and find the sine, sin. So sin of t is equal to plus or minus root of 1 minus cosine squared t. But because you're in this quadrant, sine is negative, so do not use plus. Minus square root of 1 minus cosine squared t. So this is minus square root of 1 minus 2 over 5 squared. Okay? Because cosine came out to be 2 over 5, right? And this is negative. Believe me, if you do this, you're going to get 1 over 5. 1 over 5. And cosecant, of course. Cosecant of t is 1 over sine of t. And sine of t came out to be, right, minus 1 over 5. So this is going to be minus 5. And I think we have done everything. Now, this last problem, let me close this. Don't save it. I'm going to open it up again. The last problem, it's very simple actually. It tells you that if you have a spring, and you displace it from the position, just a second now. Scroll. Okay. All right, good. So we displace it from the equilibrium position, let it go. As time goes on, the position in the vertical direction, okay, is according to that formula. So it's asking you to find the location for different times. So for example, t equal to 0, y at 0 is equal to 4 cosine of 0, and this is 4. At t equal to 0.25, y at 0.25 is equal to 4 cosine of 3 times pi times 0.25. And what you need to do is you put this in your calculator. I don't have my calculator here, but you put this stuff in your calculator in radian mode. your calculator has to be in the radian mode, and you get the cosine of that and multiply by 4 and you get a number. Make sure your calculator is in radian mode. If you are not told explicitly that this is in degrees, means that it's in radian, and therefore you have to type these things and press the cosine and multiply it with 4 and you get your answer. So this way you fill this entire table.